Welcome to Hard Talk on the BBC World Service with me, Stephen Saka. 9 months ago, Ethiopia's Nobel Peace Prize winning Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed thought he could put an end to growing tension with the government in the northern Tigray region by sending in the National Army and deposing leaders of the Tigray People's Liberation Front.
No, I don't consider Abiy Ahmed as the legitimate leader, not only of Tigray, but also the Oromos or even the Amhara. So as far as we're concerned, it's separatism to the extent that there is a tendency of separatism in Tigray, it's imposed on us. It is because Abiy and his partners in crime caused the kind of suffering which no one in their... Getachew, Reda. We have made it abundantly clear that we will agree to a ceasefire, a negotiated ceasefire, as long as the conditions we have put forward are met. It's about switching on telecommunications. It's about switching on banking services. It's about switching on electricity. This does not require any amount of effort on Abiy's part. He switched off those services
for ceasefire, but the US government, never mind the Addis government,
we're not prepared to do that. While we understand where the Americans are coming from, while we understand the kind of exerted effort they have, the kind of concerted effort they have exerted on behalf of our people, we are very grateful to that. But we totally beg to differ when it comes to withdrawal of our forces back to Tigray, because we still have to liberate every square inch of Tigray territory. The West is still in the control of Amhara expansionists, the Eritreans, and the federal forces. Second, we don't have any security arrangement which will ensure that Abiy, with his declared intention to commit genocide in Tigray, will not come back and unleash the kind of suffering he had perfected into an art form the last 9 months.
I'm listening very hard to what you're saying, and when you accuse Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, whose ruling party, let us not forget, did win a crushing majority of seats, genocide.
I don't care if it sticks around in Arat-Kilo, but what I care more about is whether he's in a position to threaten the safety and security of our people anymore.
Abiy Ahmed isn't their leader, he's also your leader. You are an Ethiopian.
I respectfully disagree. He's not my leader. I didn't take part in the elections, and I would.
You do not live in a separate state called Tigray. You live in Ethiopia, and Tigray is one region within Ethiopia.
Yes, I live in Ethiopia, but I live in a territory which we, thanks to the struggle of our people, have liberated from the chokehold of Abiy Ahmed.
Fighting for Tigray, dying for Tigray. R.I.P. to all those who have died for Tigray. Mothers cried, fathers and sons have died. Birthplace of Ethiopian civilization, superior race fight liberation. There is no mountain we will not climb. We are ready for a fight with pride. Fight to save Tigray, stop the Tigray genocide.
So as far as we're concerned, it's separatism to the extent that there is a tendency of separatism in Tigray, it's imposed on us. It is because Abiy and his partners in crime caused the kind of suffering which no one in their right mind could have imagined would come from a government that considers them its own. So, to the extent that there is a tendency of separatism, I don't think this was something we willfully pursued. This was not something that was part of our agenda. It still is not part of our agenda, but we have to make sure that our people have their right to self-determination, and they should have unfettered access to the full exercise of this right. Whether Abiy is considered a legitimate leader by the rest of the world is of no relevance as far as we're concerned.
When I hear you use this kind of language, I then read what Abiy Ahmed said to Ethiopians just the other day. He said that he was calling up all able-bodied civilians who could serve to join the military. He said, we need to, quote, halt the destruction of the treasonous and terrorist TPLF organization and the machinations of foreign hands once and for all. So you talk of separatism, he describes you as treasonous and terrorist. There is no reason to believe that this conflict is going to get anything but much worse.
You should stand to be corrected. I didn't say we are for separatism. To the extent that there is a tendency of separatism, it is imposed upon us. And I'm particularly proud of the fact that our people are fighting tooth and nail to make sure that their self-determination rights are fully exercised, fully protected. Whether that will result in independence is an entirely different matter. As far as we're concerned, Abiy committed genocide in the people of Tigray. He didn't do it simply because he was forced into it. It was because there was a method to the madness that was visited upon Tigray. There was a method, a systematic nature of the campaign that he unleashed against the people of Tigray. His forces committed rape. His forces committed forced disappearances. His forces committed all kinds of heinous crimes.
We'll get to the accusations of atrocities, egregious abuses of human
I'm not talking
rights.
about accusations.
We'll get to them because, frankly, the UN are already facing man-made famine because of it. We see hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people already displaced because of this conflict.
It's for Abiy to agree to the very terms we have put forward, because it doesn't require, like I said earlier, it doesn't require any additional arrangement on his part. All he has to do is switch off the services, okay? Once he does that, we can sit together and negotiate on, conditions for a negotiated ceasefire. He wants us to continue to maintain his chokehold on our people. He wants us to continue to bombard our people. He sends divisions after divisions simply because he has claimed that he has declared unilaterally a ceasefire. Doesn't mean it was indeed a ceasefire. In fact, his call to arms, in fact, to the entire civilian population of Ethiopia, in fact, genocide against the people of Tigray.
We've discussed Abiy Ahmed, and you've used your accusations many times. Let's move on.
Genocide.
Let's move on.
Genocide. It is the tip of the iceberg compared to the kind of volume that is required to feed hundreds of thousands of people. Abiy Ahmed's forces are obstructing the traffic. They are coming up with all kinds of excuses. In fact, they are using conflict that is taking place in areas where there is no traffic whatsoever, and he is giving all kinds of excuses and pretexts to obstruct food convoys. Genocide.